This happened back in 2004, almost 20 years ago now, but the story still gives me chills every time I think about it. My close friend, let's call her Catherine, had been married to her husband Daniel for over 22 years. They had a teenage daughter together, Emma, who was 14 at the time. Catherine thought they had a solid marriage. Sure, things weren't perfect, but she believed they were in it for the long haul. Then one afternoon, out of nowhere, Catherine got a phone call that shattered everything. It was from one of Daniel's coworkers, a guy named Mark, who she'd met maybe twice at company events. His voice was shaking when he said, "Catherine, I'm so sorry to be the one telling you this, but Daniel's been seeing someone for months, and I think you deserve to know." Catherine's heart stopped. She couldn't breathe. She asked him how he knew. Mark told her everything. The woman's name was Lisa. She lived about 20 minutes away in a council flat. Daniel had been spending nights there, lying to Catherine about late shifts and weekend work trips. He even gave her the address. Catherine felt like the ground had disappeared beneath her feet. That evening, when Daniel came home, Catherine confronted him. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. Not yet. She just looked him in the eye and asked, "Are you having an affair with someone named Lisa?" The color drained from his face. He tried to deny it at first, stumbling over his words, but Catherine didn't let him off the hook. She told him she knew the address, she knew how long it had been going on, and she knew he'd been lying to her face for months. Finally, Daniel broke down and admitted everything. He said he was unhappy, that he'd fallen in love with Lisa, that he wanted a divorce. 2 weeks later, he moved out, and that's when things got even worse. Daniel stopped paying child support completely. Catherine were a part-time administrative assistant at a local council office, barely making enough to cover rent and groceries. Now, with Daniel gone and refusing to contribute a single penny, she was drowning financially. When she confronted him about it, he said, and I'll never forget this line, "I have a new family to take care of now." A new family. Turns out, Lisa had 4 kids from previous relationships, and in Daniel's twisted mind, her children were now more important than his own daughter. Emma was devastated. She'd always been a daddy's girl, and suddenly, her father had just erased her. Stopped calling, stopped visiting, acted like she didn't exist. Catherine watched her daughter fall apart, and there was nothing she could do to fix it. But here's where the story gets interesting. A few weeks after Daniel moved in with Lisa, someone, anonymously of course, reported Lisa to the Department of Social Security for benefit fraud. See, Lisa had been claiming housing benefits, income support, and child tax credits as a single mother. But the moment Daniel moved in, a man with a full-time job, she was legally required to report that change. She didn't. And whoever reported her knew exactly what evidence to provide. They told the DSS investigator that Daniel was having his bank statements sent directly to Lisa's address, that he changed his official residence on multiple documents, that his car was parked in her driveway every single night. Within days, an investigator showed up at Lisa's door. A week later, Daniel called Catherine. He was panicking. "They've cut off all her benefits," he said, his voice frantic. "She can't pay her rent. She can't afford food for the kids. This is a disaster." Catherine, calm as ever, said, "That sounds really hard, Daniel." There was a pause. "She kicked me out," he said quietly. "She said I ruined her life." Catherine didn't say anything. She just hung up. In the months that followed, Daniel tried to come crawling back. He sent Catherine texts, emails, even showed up at her door a few times, claiming he'd made a mistake, that he still loved her, that he wanted to work things out. Catherine didn't even respond. She'd already started rebuilding her life. She got a promotion at work. She and Emma started going to therapy together. They grew closer than ever. Emma began to heal, not because her father came back, but because she realized she didn't need him. Years later, when Emma got married at 27, she didn't invite Daniel to the wedding. He found out about it through social media and sent her a long, guilt-trippy message about how hurt he was, Emma blocked him. Catherine, standing beside her daughter on her wedding day, felt nothing but pride. As for who reported Lisa to the DSS, well, Catherine worked in local government. She knew exactly what kind of evidence was needed to trigger an immediate investigation. She knew which forms to reference, which department to contact, and how to make sure the complaint was taken seriously. Did she make that call herself? She's never said. But every time someone asks, she just smiles and says, "Karma works in mysterious ways."